this up 6 or 8 minutes ago.
Ready? All right, we are live and ready when you are, Mr. Mayor.
All right, sounds good. We'll go ahead and call the meeting to order. It's a regular meeting of the Seldovia City Council, Monday, August 12th, 2024. Time is 6:05 p.m. And we'll go ahead and do roll call. Rojas.
Here.
Let's see. Kennedy is still absent. Swick.
Here.
Peyton.
Here.
Keithley.
Here.
And Langbart. Okay, I think I heard Meg there. All right, we have 5 out of 6 in attendance, with Kennedy being absent. Hopefully he'll join us here at a little later date. Liz, if you could lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance, that'd be great.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, thank you. All right. Item C, we have no excused absences, so hopefully John will join us here shortly. Item D, agenda approval. We'll look for a motion to approve tonight's agenda.
I'll make a motion to approve tonight's agenda.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion to approve tonight's agenda by Keithley with a second by Rojas. Any further discussion on the motion before we vote? Okay, hearing none, we'll go ahead and vote on the approval of tonight's agenda. All those in favor, Rojas?
Aye.
Kennedy? Oh, excuse me, Swick?
Aye.
Peyton?
Aye.
Keithley?
Aye.
And Langbart?
Aye.
Okay, motion passes. 5 in the affirmative and 1 absent. So tonight's agenda is approved as written. Item E, consent agenda. All items under the consent agenda are approved with a single motion, no discussion, and 1 vote. A council member may request to remove any item for discussion and a separate vote. All items removed from the consent agenda will be placed under new business. Tonight's consent agenda consists of item 1, approval of the minutes of the regular meeting from July 22nd, 2024. Second item is ordinance introduction. That'll be ordinance 25-02, an ordinance to the City Council of the City of Seldovia, Alaska, rezoning waterfront resub number 1, lots 2, 3, and 4, block 13, from commercial business district to waterfront commercial residential district, and adopting and updating the zoning map. And the third item is there's 2 resolutions. Resolution 25-06, a resolution of the City Council of the City of Seldovia adopting a revised memorandum of agreement between the Kenai Peninsula Borough and the cities of Homer, Kenai, Seldovia, Seward, and Soldotna for the purposes of intergovernmental administration of borough and city elections. The second resolution is Resolution 25-07, a resolution of the City Council of the City of Seldovia, Alaska, approving the Seldovia utility entering into a mutual aid and assistance agreement for Alaska Water/Wastewater Agency Response Network, also known as ACWARN, and authorizing the city manager to negotiate and execute the appropriate documents. So that's tonight's consent agenda. We have the minutes, 1 ordinance, and 2 resolutions on there. And we'll go ahead and look for a motion to approve tonight's consent agenda.
Motion to approve tonight's consent agenda.
I'll second.
Okay, we have a motion by Langbart to approve tonight's consent agenda with a second by Swick. Any further discussion on the consent agenda before we vote? Okay, hearing none, we'll go ahead and vote on the approval of tonight's consent agenda. All those in favor, Rojas,
Aye.
Swick,
Aye.
Peyton,
Aye.
Keithley,
Aye.
and Langbart.
Aye.
Okay, motion passes with 5 in the affirmative and 1 absent. Thank you for that. Okay, item F, mayoral proclamations, none. Item G, public presentations, prior notice. Liz, is that still correct? No, no new public presentations?
Correct. We have no public presentations for prior notice tonight.
Okay, item H, public presentation for items not on the agenda. Do we have anybody signed up for item H?
No, we have no one signed up, Mr. Mayor.
Okay. Item I, committee and advisory board reports. I don't see any listed. Is that still also the case?
Yeah, we have none for tonight.
Okay. Item J, administrative reports. I also see none. And item K, public hearings. First one will be item K1, ordinance 25-01, a non-code ordinance of the City Council of the City of Seldovia, Alaska, amending the FY25 budget by appropriating $13,960 from the Major Maintenance and Repair Fund for the dock approach repair project and boat haul out ramp repair project. And we'll go ahead and let the city manager lead the discussion on this.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Hopefully everybody can hear me.
We can hear you loud and clear.
Perfect. So that ordinance is located on page 66. The dock repair was a priority in the FY24 budget as well as the FY25 budget. $5,000 was allocated for this repair. Due to circumstances in the community, there was a few projects that were ongoing through Seldovia Village Tribe, both in the road inside city limits and outside city limits, and there were concrete trucks coming in or cement trucks coming in. I had a few people look at the dock approach in question for the best way, the most feasible way to make that repair, including Jim Hopkins with Hopkins Brothers, who recommended that we solicit a truck because we needed to bore holes into the approach and then pour a slurry down in. And then in speaking with Kakar Construction, who is the company that's working for the SVT clinic in town, they were able to help us out over a weekend and performed the labor to do that the bore holes and frame up the sides to allow for the pour. Then when Dibble came over and were pouring for multiple jobs, they also came and poured for us. It was a 20-yard minimum. We didn't need 20 yards. So we were able to form up, I can't remember how many yards it was, 4 or 5 yards worth of blocks. We formed blocks for the boat haul out, the blocking that is the boat haul out ramp. So those are ready to go and were poured so we can make those repairs hopefully this fall. And then we were able to sell some of the material back to both projects. So we will get a little bit back for our from our invoice, which was the $13,960 for that material. We'll see a little over probably about 1,500 back that we did sell. But at this time, that was the cost of the project. So I'm hoping that council will be willing to make that appropriation and we can make that change in the budget and know that that project has been completed. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Heidi. Okay, any questions from council?
Mr. Mayor, if I may.
Yeah, go ahead, Vivian.
Yeah, just a clarification. Did I hear you say, Heidi, that some slabs were poured to put in the boat launching ramp down by the church? Is that where?
No, these are for the ones by the harbor. We already do have a few by the church. So we're hoping that this fall will, or early winter, we're gonna explore excavating some of the broken blocking and then putting in the new blocks. We did even have a little bit more material. So we did do a temporary patch on them just to see if it would hold and level it out a little bit for current use. And that seems to be holding all right. But we would like to take out those old blocks. They were down to rebar in a lot of areas and starting to get pretty hazardous.
Yeah,
So
I'm glad to hear that was done. Thank you very much. And the projects to me is well worth what we put into it. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Yeah, thank you, Vivian. Anyone else? Any additional questions, comments for the city manager? Hey Heidi, I've got one on the dock then. Did that, I mean, okay, so did that all go as planned? I mean, are we thinking that's going to be good for a while now?
yes, it was fortuitous because we ended up having the inspection the next week from the state. I have not received that report back, but they did note it. The individuals who did the inspection previously. So I'm awaiting that report to see how that turns out for the state, but it was noted in the most recent inspection.
Okay, sounds good. Okay, if there's no other questions from staff, anyone from the public that wishes to comment on ordinance 25-01?
We have no comments from the public at this time.
Okay, we'll go ahead and bring ordinance 25-01 back to council for final action.
Mr. Mayor, I'll make a motion that we adopt ordinance 25-01.
I second.
Okay, we have a motion from Rojas to go ahead and adopt ordinance 25-01 with a second by Keithley. Any further discussion on ordinance 25-01 before we vote? Okay, hearing none, we'll go ahead and vote on the approval of ordinance 25-01 and let the record reflect that Councilmember Kennedy is also in the audience. All right, we'll go ahead and vote. All those in favor, Rojas,
Aye.
Kennedy,
Aye.
Swick,
Aye.
Peyton,
Aye.
Keithley,
Aye.
and Langbart.
Aye.
Okay, motion passes with a vote of 6 in the affirmative, and that is the approval of ordinance 25-01. Okay, thank you, everyone. We'll move on to item K2. K2 is resolution 25-08, a resolution of the City Council of the City of Seldovia, Alaska, authorizing a 40-foot utility easement to Homer Electric Association and authorizing the city manager to negotiate and execute the appropriate documents. And we'll go ahead and let the manager also lead this discussion.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Mayor. So as stated, it's on page 67 of the packet. Homer Electric Association reached out to the city and requested a utility easement for the extension of electric from the City of Seldovia property. It's the RV park property across the street to the Seldovia Native Association property where they have an ongoing project. And our code does specify that it needs to be approved to form. So I sent the documents to the city attorney and he did approve it to form, as well as agreed that per code that this would should be presented as a resolution to the Seldovia City Council.
Okay, thank you, Heidi. One quick question. That's an overhead. That's an overhead, or is that easement? Is that the intent is to go over the road?
Correct.
Okay. Yep. Sounds good. All right. Any other discussion, comments from council?
Mayor Campbell,
Yep. Go ahead, John.
I'm just curious of where that, the road in the park, it doesn't affect that in any way? In the RV park?
If you, through the mayor, if you look at page 70, you will see Exhibit A, which is a map of the area.
I just didn't see the road on there.
No, it's not. It's at the very upper, northern, I don't know, that's more western corner of the property. So it is, I can show you a larger area with the property online, but this is just the very
Yeah,
top
the
section
easement
of that
doesn't
property, the
affect-
roads.
So
Huh?
it doesn't affect anything that we're currently using out there?
Correct.
Okay. That's all I have.
Okay, thank you, John. Anyone else from council?
Mr. Mayor, if I may.
Yeah, go ahead, Vivian.
Yeah, again, for clarification. So in this map on page 70, there's just that little blue slashed area, that's the 40 feet that we're talking about. And if they're going to extend into that area, guess I'm a little bit confused.
So the way I understand it, and I can go back and clarify with Scott, is that the gray line is the utility line, and they are wanting to take, you see that gray dot that's in the middle of the blue, and then extend it through on the red line across the street to the next property. So with that, he said it's 100. He did note that it was 120, well, it says 150-foot long. So it's a 40-foot wide by approximately 150-foot long easement centered on the future location of an overhead 3-phase primary electric line, including guys and anchors. So that Exhibit A is what does that answer your question?
Yeah, I'm just trying to visualize. So what they're going to put in that area. So the city's going to give up a 40 by 125 or whatever it is area that's going to have above power that there's nothing there right now. So there's going to be power poles, or what's going to actually be installed there?
It'll just be the overhead line. It looks like the poles are the red dots.
Okay,
So,
coming back off.
yep.
Okay.
And there's
Yeah,
already the existing.
The only thing that we would end up is that additional guy wire on the other side of the pole of the existing pole there. It looks like, since it's gonna side load that pole, they'll put a guy there and then pull off that one. And yeah, it looks like there's 2 poles on the adjacent property, and then another pole on the other side of the road, another 250 feet away.
Right. Okay. Yes. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Any additional comments, questions from council? Okay, I'll just make one comment. Yeah, obviously, to me, this is more of a generally housekeeping issue. Just being a good neighbor. Obviously, this is the best way to get power from over to that new project over there. So I think it'd be good of us to go ahead and grant the easement to HEA, let them do their work, and should be minimal impact to us. There's already an overhead out there. Another overhead going the other direction's probably not going to make that big of a deal. So maybe we'll get a little additional brush clearing out of it when they're in there doing that. So, but okay, that's all I've got. Any additional comments, questions before we go to public? Okay, hearing none, we'll go ahead and Liz, anyone from the public wish to weigh in on resolution 25-08?
No, Mr. Mayor, we didn't have anybody sign up online and nobody's in the room.
Okay. All right, we'll bring resolution 25-08 back to the council for final action, and I'll look for a motion to approve resolution 25-08.
I'll make Mayor Campbell.
Yep, go ahead, John.
I'll make a motion to approve resolution 25-08 for the as read.
Okay. Do we have a second?
Second.
Okay. We have a motion to approve resolution 25-08 by member Kennedy with a second by member Rojas. Any additional discussion on the approval of resolution 25-08 before we vote? Okay, hearing none, we'll go ahead and vote on the approval of resolution 25-08. All those in favor, Rojas,
Aye.
Kennedy,
Aye.
Swick,
Aye.
Peyton,
Aye.
Keithley,
Aye.
Langbart.
Aye.
Okay, motion passes with 6 in the affirmative. And that is resolution 25-08. All right, thank you everyone for that. And that'll move us on down. No unfinished business for item L. Item M, new business. Item M1, council discussion, annual update of the Seldovia Capital Improvement Plan. This would be committee of the whole. And Heidi, I'll just go and let you present.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. So on page 71 of the packet, there is a memo provided by myself with a little bit of background and a plan overview as well as progress to date. This is really more just kind of a discussion to get everybody's brains thinking on the plan. We update this annually we've been updating this annually since 2022. We have found this to be extremely useful in the city office with requesting funding both from the state and from the federal government, as well as whenever there's grant projects or grant opportunities that come up, we can go back to these documents and utilize the information that's in them, and sometimes even provide the one-pagers as a whole. And certainly when the resolution is written and it approves the CIP as well as the top priorities, the state legislative priorities and federal legislative priorities, we send that to the state with those one-pagers. And then anytime we have a dignitary that we're in discussion with, even like with for instance, Senator Sullivan's coming, that's what they ask for. What are your guys' priorities? So it's extremely useful tool to be able to just pull out those pages, hand them over, and have as much detail as we currently have on those existing projects. With that said, as the year goes and we make progress on projects, or as we are developing project plans for grant proposals, we are internally updating them or keeping track of things that need to be updated, from project names, just project descriptions, phases of projects, and new projects that need to be considered. And those are not included in this plan yet. This is just an initial discussion for the council of ideas that you guys may have thought of through the year, projects that you would like to be implemented, things that you would like to be changed. And then once I have that feedback, if you don't have it tonight, you can get it to me. I'm hoping to have all input by the end of the month, and then be able to really kind of finalize that draft to present to you guys in September at a work session. We'll go over all of those changes and then delve a little bit more deeply into what you want those priorities to be for the upcoming year. Keeping in mind, we had raw water transmission line as a priority, and the, what was the other one I was looking for? It was not on here, but we did send off the road surface material, and we did receive appropriations this year, state appropriations for those. So just thinking that through, what is it that's a priority moving forward? If you look at the plan overview, there are some questions there that we utilized to guide the priority level process. So they're 1 through 4. Priority 1's, of course, being more of a focus for us. However, this is a 5-year plan, and we're constantly updating or annually updating it, working on it, and hoping to accomplish all of the projects if possible. Wouldn't that be nice? Progress to date on page 72, I just wanted to give you a quick rundown that there are a few projects that have been complete. The roof repairs for the city office awning. I say that knowing that they still need to be painted, but the paint is here and that's scheduled in the next couple of weeks. and the ice skating rink recreation area. However, I do have a question out to Lisa about that. If there's more improvements that she wants to see, things that she wants to continue with the city and partnership with, it may stay in there depending on what their goals are. There's also a list there under projects funded or with funding in progress to kind of give you a snapshot of that progress that we've made. And I mean, we have made quite a bit of progress. As well as recommended updates to the plan will include those changes and the inclusion of the septic lift station repair project. I cannot believe that that's been missed all these years. It's such a crucial project. We need to get it done. I'm hoping that we put it in the plan and then we're able to finish it, you know, simultaneously. And it was maybe not necessarily to actually put it in there, but we're going to put it in there just in case. And then, like I said, in conclusion, are there other projects that the Seldovia City Council would like to see presented? The whole plan is in here for you guys to look at. If you don't have answers tonight, just get them to me in email or make an appointment or stop by, give me a call, and we can talk about them. Or are there ways that you'd like to see them prioritized differently, split up differently? Just what would make the most sense and work for everybody? Right now it is really working for us, and we just want it to be the best document it can. And with that, I leave it over to council.
Okay, thank you, Heidi. Appreciate that overview. All right, it's committee of the whole. So if there's anyone from the public as well on Liz, they can feel free to raise their hand either online or it sounds like no one's in the office there. But it would just open it up to anyone for comments, questions on the CIP for the CIP discussion.
Mr. Mayor, if I may.
Yeah, Vivian, go ahead.
Yeah, I really appreciate this document and that we've got this carrying through for years and years over time and updating it. I think this is a vital document that we, as our city manager, responded to that helps us for funding. So I'm really pleased to see this and that we've got a big list here already. I would be curious what else is out there that we haven't targeted, but thank you very much for updating this and keeping us updated. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Yeah, thank you, Vivian. I have a quick question, Heidi, and I know kind of more you'll touch on it in your manager's report, but I know we have the raw water transmission line obviously on here. Can you maybe just touch real quick in advance on just the importance of that and what, again, what happened here with the most recent leak? And we did have a temporary fix, and just maybe give us a quick update so we have a better comprehension of why that's on here.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Mayor. So we did have a potential leak reported a couple of weeks ago. We happened to have Kevin with ARWA here in town when that happened, and he was able to go up with his listening equipment. And actually, they were able to listen and pinpoint the location, but it was loud. It was roaring, and they could tell that there was a lot of water flowing from a leak in that section of pipe, that thin-walled steel that we've been discussing. So that lower 1,050 feet is still the thin-walled pipe from the 60s. And it's been identified in multiple plans, 2003 water and sewer improvement plan, and then later in the, I'm blanking what year it was, plan for the water treatment plant, that it was identified as a priority that it needed to be replaced. The public works crew was able to get the material together, go up and put a clamp on it. They dug it up. I sent a video out, and if anybody wants to see it, again, let me know, or pictures. But I couldn't even get in there with my car. There was so much water pouring down the mountainside from that leak. They got the clamp on, they tightened it down as much as possible. There's still a little bit trickling. not near as much, but we know, and we've been saying it's not a matter of if, but when. And I think this was a really big reminder of how important it is. Funding wise, I've been working with a gentleman, Greg McGee from RCAC. He's been providing technical assistance to the city through the EPA, who we have the federal appropriation of $1,166,000 for the project from an appropriations request we did through Murkowski's office. That is going through the EPA through a community grant. And Greg has been working, even though the funding is appropriated, there's still an application process. So we've been working together, and it's been pretty slow because we didn't have all of the funding that we needed. We did receive an appropriation from the state of $250,000, which actually goes a long way. In discussion with Greg over the last week or 2 weeks, we were able to we were able to really narrow down and finalize that budget. In speaking with the APA, they really specified, because of the BABA requirements, the 20% match, everything that went in with the federal appropriation, they suggested that when we fill out the application for the project, that we are really focused to that phase of the project that the funding, the federal appropriation would cover. So if it wasn't going to cover the whole project, to phase it out and then just focus on that portion, because then the restrictions are limited to that portion of the project that the funding's provided for. So in speaking with Greg and looking at projected costs, current projected costs and the match, we were actually able to break the project out to the construction portion of the project. And it's, like I said, the mayor said it's in the city manager's report, so I won't go over it again when we get to that section. But we have the $1,166,000, the $250 from the state, and then the 20% match for the $1,166,000 is actually $290,000. So with the city putting up $40,000, which we have in our major maintenance and repair fund, that makes the project whole for the construction piece. There's still the design element that's missing, and my goal is to reach out to HDR and CRW and some of the other firms and see what it would take to do more of a value design, or even when we work through the RFP process, see if we can build that into the RFP to have a little bit of design and engineer in with the project itself, so that we can get this off the ground, because the sooner the better. And it's really close. I had the final draft of the budget narrative and work scope sent to me just this afternoon, and it looks amazing. I'll be getting on with Greg tomorrow, I believe. At some point, I'll break away from the sessions here in Kodiak, and we will get online and we'll submit it to the EPA, submit the last piece of the documentation to the state, and then hopefully we'll be signing grant paperwork after that and get this off the ground.
Yeah, thank you, Heidi. That's good information. I just wanted to have that out there again, so everyone could keep that in context to why this is at the top of the list. I mean, if that thing goes down, we have no water. So that's a big deal. One thing too, thinking back from when we built the water treatment plant and talking to some of the, when Rance and Johnny and Steve, some of the guys that were with the utilities way back in the day, and were here when we did a lot of the stuff underground around town, when they did a bunch of that work, because they had talked about, and they had did a number of slip lines, so they didn't have to dig up the entire town, of taking the old ductile iron, the 10 and 12 inch ductile iron, then slip lining it with like 8-inch HDPE. I would definitely like that to be a consideration, at least a discussion item, because I mean, the most expensive part of that's going to be the excavation, right? And that is steep in some spots. So that's where you run into some of these costs versus, you have a number of bends in that. Most of it's fairly straight, fairly shallow, but if you could utilize the long straight runs of that for slip lining, and the engineers will be able to tell us right out of the gate, whether or not the diameters are there to do that. But we only may end up have to if we could do that, dig in just a very limited number of places on the bends to, cut out the bends and have enough of a radius there to, get the HDPE to bend around, around the corner and into the next section of line and continue on down the hill. So, maybe just keep that in your mind, if that could at least be a discussion item to entertain. And if it's not, it's not. But if it is a possibility, that'd be fantastic. So, I mean, that thing runs 24/7. So it's not like we ever, we're not, I mean, even if it's smaller, it's still going to more than easily meet the demand for what we need. So I don't think that's ever a question. Hey, Harmony, I see your hand up.
Hey, I'm sorry. I kind of lost the thread there for a minute. Are you guys talking about a fault in the line from up top or from the treatment center? Like
From up top.
going to, oh my gosh. So we're gonna have
Yeah.
to replace all that line going from the treatment center all the way to the dam? Is that what you're saying?
That line, but only 1,050 feet. The top 1,800 feet was replaced decades ago. So with ductile iron. So it's just the lower 1,050 feet from the reservoir to the water treatment plant. Yes.
Oofta. Okay,
Mhm.
sorry. I lost it there and then I was like, wow, that's a big picture to get my mind around on the fly.
Mr. Mayor, if I may.
Yeah, go ahead, Vivian.
Yeah, so clarification. I mean, this is such a huge project. It's such an important project. Am I hearing you say, Heidi, that there is funding, that this thing actually is a potential? That's wonderful if that's what I'm hearing. Oh, you're on mute.
Yes, if you remember, we have the federal appropriation of 1,166,000. And then we have a $250,000 appropriation from the state that you guys approved through resolution at the last meeting. So with those two pieces and then a little bit of a match from the city, we're hoping that we can accomplish this project.
Excellent. Thank you.
Thank you, Vivian. Jen?
Yeah, I'm gonna go in a different direction, if that's all right. The fuel and lube roof, remind me what I see. It's here. We put it on the legislative priorities list. Was there were we trying to get a CBDG or whatever? Would it qualify for one of those? Wasn't there talk of that? Or did it not qualify?
I need to double check. I believe there was an issue with its status as a leased building. I know we've had an issue with finding funding sources for it. We did apply for a REVEEP and it was denied. We received a REVEEP for the city office, but not for that roof. And we also included it in the federal appropriations with Murkowski's office. And it didn't make it through committee. So she did select it as a potential project and went to committee and it didn't make it out. It's something that in discussion in-house with staff, that it's a problem area for finding funding for. And I'm really glad you brought it up because it's becoming a more and more pressing matter every day. Now the whole eave I was just talking to Josh about this last week. The whole eave is running with water down the middle, and then there's other various spots. We've tried to repair it twice. At this point in time, staff believes it's in need of a full replacement.
That's on the fuel dock building or the main building?
The main building, the fuel dock
Main
building is
building.
included in the proposal because it has daylight through the siding and needs a new roof as well. But the main building roof needs to be replaced as they both need work.
Yeah, I mean, I just see that. I'm obviously the water treatment line and all that is very crucial, but this project, it would be nice to see. I mean, obviously the funding is the issue, to figure out a way to get that fixed for them, because it's really unacceptable that it's going this way. And then I did get your email now that we're talking about this. I totally forgot about the radios and the upgrade for the fire department. Did you get any of that info from Jan already?
Not yet, so I'm hoping that I can sit down with you guys here in the next couple of weeks and start working through that. And we can create a one pager and have that included as well as any other projects that the department may have.
Okay. Okay. We can get together on that. Oops. That's not what I want to do.
All right. Who else has got any input, questions, feedback on the CIP items? And Heidi, when remind me the dates again. When do you want to have this finalized by?
You know, the hard deadline is January, but we've come under some pretty big crunch times when we wait that long. I've seen a lot of other communities have pretty good success with getting it done in the fall. So I think as long as we get it done in the October, November time range, earlier if we get it done in September is great. But having some time to really get into these discussions, working with the fire department, working with Sea Otter Community Center, working with any other entities who want to include projects, and then really having a great product to present as our priorities is the key. So we can take some time with it. Certainly, I hope we can have it done before December.
Yeah, maybe one thing we do too is if we wanted to, I mean, we could have a work session or two in there, but the other thing we could do is we could keep it on the agendas and break it out, into sections of this. And then just that way we could get in don't feel like we have to have a one solid 2 or 3 hour discussion. But, if we spend 45 minutes or an hour on, one or two of these sections after 2 or 3 meetings, we'll have, that'll put us in our time frame, and we'd probably have some pretty good, informative discussions on that for folks to really vet some of the things on here. And then, we can choose to add or delete or update or whatever we want to do going forward here.
Okay, so if we can shoot for me having a final draft, well, not a final draft, but an initial draft to you guys by the first meeting of September, and then we can try that if you guys want.
Yeah, I think I'm fine with that if the rest of the council's good.
Yeah, sounds good to me.
All right, sounds good. Yeah, any other final closing comments before we move on? All right, hearing none. Yeah, thanks Heidi for getting this on the agenda and getting the thought process going here. And yeah, I think if we get out ahead of this, then we won't, our backs won't be against the wall here this winter. So that's a good plan. All right, let's go. Let's see. That was item M1, capital improvement plan. All right, item N, city manager's report.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. So I won't rehash the raw water transmission line replacement project again. I feel like I covered that pretty well, but if you guys have any questions, definitely let me know. We kind of have 3 or 4 main projects that we're really focused on at all times. And then of course, all of the background things that are happening. But those being the raw water transmission line and then Jackloff. We are actively working with Moffett and Nickel and Marad to complete those pre-award requirements. I had a great meeting with Moffett and Nickel last week. They are working on the project narrative, section 106, some of those requirements that can get started prior to the geotechnical field inspection, and that's going to happen the week of September 3rd. That's really crucial. That's when they'll do the boring. So we have approval from DNR to do 2 boreholes in the tidelands then. And they'll take a sample for that and utilize that for the recommendations for the pile driving or the pile sockets. I'm blanking the right terminology for it. I'm learning a lot about building a dock though, as well as they'll take some other readings when they're here. And then those determinations will be utilized to work on the design and work on the environmental report through NEPA. So we're really excited to get that taken care of. I did complete Title VI, which is the civil rights and ADA requirement. So we're getting things done on the city end that are under our umbrella, and the schedule has been updated. It's of course been pushed out a little bit just because of how long it took to get the process started. But we're still really hoping that we can see construction next fall 2025. So that's if NEPA's done by July, approval's given, we can get the RFP out. If not, then maybe spring. The good news at this point, and I maybe a little cautious in saying it, but in our initial reach out to the Army Corps and Fish and Game and DNR, is it does not look like we have any in-water construction restrictions in that area, which is huge. So that will definitely open up the timelines for us to be able to complete construction as long as that stays the case. But I'll let you guys know as we get through it. The Jackloft Bay Dock did need some minor repairs. Those were completed by Amanda. One of the clamps for the approach to the dock had come off, so she was able to repair that, repair the board to the approach. We know there's a float coming out at the end. We can't do that without doing in-water work. We're kind of thinking through a plan, really just limping it along at this point in time and doing what we can to keep it going. But definitely excited to get this project off the ground, as well as when I requested approval for the geotechnical with DNR. I did ask about any updates for that lease. They said they were still waiting to hear back from the leasee. And some of the discussions that they were having, the last I heard about those discussions was they were in talk about that additional 40 feet from the road. So hoping to hear something soon. State legislative grants, we talked about the raw water transmission line replacement project, that 250,000, which is going towards the match for the federal appropriation. And hopefully we'll have those applications in this week and grant awards here in the very near future, and we can send out an RFP and get that project done. The other very exciting one is the material for safe roads. That's 88,000, and that's also kind of a match leverage to a CDS request or a federal appropriation of 22,000, so 110,000 in material, which when I started the budget narrative, I was a little bit nervous. What are we going to do with all of this material? But it actually doesn't go that far. So I did include asphalt in the request because we have some patches in the pavement that need to be repaired. And I've been working to ascertain a quote. I have one company that's come back to me and this just says, no, there's no way. They don't have any time in their schedule. And they're not even wanting to entertain what that would cost. So I'm waiting to hear back from another company. I think I have a fairly decent estimate already going off of some previous work that's been done, but hoping that the state will allow that inclusion and then some material on top of that for the roads. We know we at least have a couple of roads that are in high priority right now. One being that Ketchmack Street. We've got some big drainage issues. So this will also probably coincide with the stormwater management plan and looking at ways that we can add material and grade roads and clean up some of those unpaved areas to allow for better drainage. But that's in the works. They had sent out, speaking of the drainage map and stormwater management plan, another mailer with a link to a survey for potential projects that people can comment on. That's their top projects. And then a link to the field inspection report is included as well. And they plan on having an in-person meeting on August 26th, where HDR will be here to talk about those potential projects and answer any questions. That project schedule is scheduled to be closed by December 31st. So they'll coincide a little bit, but we're really excited to get some material here to help work on those roads. City office and maintenance shop. I know I mentioned this last time. I just wanted to keep it at the front that we were selected for an Alaska Energy Authority subaward. This is the one we did not receive for the fuel and lube roof or for the multipurpose building. However, the city office did receive that award, and included in that was the spray foam insulation in the shop, a new bay door, exterior man doors, replacement of single pane and broken windows, and new registers and thermostats. So some basic upgrades to hopefully improve our energy and not have daylight coming through the back bay door. Boatyard impoundment process, quick update on that. We were scheduled to send out those, and we sent out the pre-impoundment notices, and we were going to send out the impoundment notices at the beginning of August. However, we've also been working through this process with an attorney who's been working through the Harbor Code and all of some of those changes that are occurring with us, Holly Wells, and we are on a little bit of a delay, just making sure we have the forms approved before we send those out. So we're anticipating that those will get sent out this week once they have that final approval from legal. One boat was cleared up. Two boats are in the process of signing up and establishing a payment plan. And then that leaves, I think, 4 boats still that would be potentially impounded. Utility rate study, you guys saw that Rebecca Ryan was here. She continues to work on that. We're excited to hear that back from her. She has it. We did have an initial meeting with LG Rayfield about the FY24 audit, and they sent the engagement letter, so we need to sign that and send it back. City awning roof repair project, as stated, it's nearly complete. It just needs some paint. We did do the OSFO on it, so now it needs paint to cover it, so it can last for hopefully a long time moving forward. The paint's here. The crew's been working on another project, so they were hoping to get to it in the next couple of weeks. Employment opportunities, the public works operator 1 and 2 position remains vacant. We do have an interview this week, or scheduled this week. We're also still looking for a sub for senior meals. I think we kind of have that figured out in-house, but if there's anybody else that's interested helping out in senior meals on occasion, definitely let us know. Otherwise, I believe everything else is you've seen, and let me know if you have any questions.
Okay, thank you, Heidi. Any questions for the city manager? Heidi, I have one real quick on over at the clinic where Kuchar had to make that big asphalt cut over there. Did they have a contractor lined up, a sub to come in and fix that, or no? They can't get anyone either?
No, they were hoping to go through the city, and then they were gonna pay the city for the portion of their project. So we're still working on that deal. I have one more request out. We'll see what happens.
Okay, sounds good. Sounds good. Okay, any other comments, questions?
I did forget to update the cybersecurity risk assessment. We have seen the draft. We have it in hand. Radzi and myself I'm finishing reviewing. It was 129 pages. So pretty extensive. And we're going to meet with Structured to perform the assessment, have a discussion with them, do any final edits, and then we can present that to the council here in the near future.
Okay, great. Great. Thanks for all the information in the manager's report. Yep, lots of good things happening, working through the issues and problems and projects. So that's good. That's exciting. All right, item O, informational items not requiring action. Item O1, regular election for the city of Seldovia will be held October 1st, 2024. Candidate filing period opens August 1st and closes August 15th. So there's only a couple more days left. And can you remind me who is up this year for elections?
That would be Councilmember Kennedy and Councilmember Swick's seat.
Kennedy and Swick. All right.
And if I could add one more thing, Mr. Mayor, I'm not sure if it was in your report, Heidi, but the visit from Senator Sullivan for August 23rd, if any of the council members might be available for that. I believe City Manager Yeagle will be out of town, and Mr. Mayor, I don't know if you'll be in town for that as well, but it'd be great to have some people show up.
Yeah, I will. I'm planning on being there on that Friday.
Great.
And then, hey, Liz, real quick while I got you here in this, and we're for informational items, can you just remind us the times he's planning on being? So he's going to have a community meeting, right? And open to the public, and that's going to be in council chambers. And then what time is that planned for?
I'd have to go back and look at the email. I believe it was 2:00. Does that sound right?
30 Seldovia Gateway Pavilion, as long as the weather's nice. If not, then we can
Okay.
move it to the council chambers.
Okay, so at the pavilion at 2:30. Okay. And will that just be, Heidi, do you know, is that going to be an open Q&A? He'll give a presentation and just have an open Q&A with the public?
Yes.
Okay, fantastic. Good. So there'll be a good opportunity for folks to meet him and ask him any questions that they would like. So I know one of his big deals is security, military security for the state of Alaska. And he's big on that. So I'm sure, given the recent developments and everything that's going on in the world right now, I'm sure he'll have a pretty informative update on what he sees or his priorities are moving forward for the next session. So, all right, looking forward to that. Let's see, item P, executive session. We have none. Item Q, council and mayor comments concerning items not on the agenda. Rojas.
Just a big thank you to everyone, and Heidi, great report. You're doing so much. Really appreciate it. And kudos to council. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thanks, Vivian. Kennedy.
Nothing for me tonight.
Okay. Swick.
No comment.
Peyton.
No comment.
Keith Lee.
No comment.
And Langbart.
No comment.
All right. Well, thanks everyone for attending tonight. Obviously, myself and Heidi are down here at the summer legislative session in Kodiak. So we've got a couple days here. Looking forward to meeting a number of folks. Senator Murkowski is also supposed to be in here, I believe, on Wednesday. So look forward to meeting her. Obviously, thanking her for everything that she does for the community of Seldovia. So, and then obviously we'll hit up Senator Sullivan when he's in town as well. So yeah, looking forward to having some good information here. And then of course we'll pass that on when we get back here in the next council meeting. So all right, our next regular meeting will be on August 26th, 2024 at 6 p.m. And I'll look for a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
I'll second that.
Okay, we have a motion to adjourn by Rojas, second by Kennedy. Any objection to the motion? Okay, hearing none, we are adjourned. Thank you, everyone, and have a good evening.
You have a great time in Kodiak. All right, good night.
Okay, thanks, everyone.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you. Have a good night.